Welcome, everyone, to LSU Odyssey Live. I see we have some uh, people joining us already. Quite a stunning list here. We've got already legendary LSU wide receivers coach, Mickey Joseph, who we've been trying to get on the show since 2020. He can verify that. He's joining us from Instagram right now. He's watching the show. Hopefully, we can get the Grambling head coach on the show at some point this season. We were in talks to make that happen, and ran into camp season, and you know how important that is for every head coach. But we would love to get the Grambling head coach and former national champion wide receiver captain Mickey Joseph. We'd love to get him on the show, but thank you for watching, sir. Pleasure to speak before you. Former LSU offensive lineman Xavier Hill, we got him joining us from Instagram. I can see on the thing. That's fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. LSU just took down Clemson in what was a brutal top 10 defensive struggle. I mean, this was like a game of return to the land of blood and bone. Like this was a scorched earth, skull dragging, tooth pulling defensive struggle, just knock down, drag out battle. But really, the game should have been 24-10 LSU. Like they took out the Barry and Brown touchdown. You all know the play I'm talking about.
This is crazy.
Barry
and Brown.
Again, if you don't.
Oh, my lordy.
And we know that play was taken and done away with, of course. We know how that play was completely robbed off the scoreboard from LSU. But it didn't matter in the end. LSU still prevails and gets the huge week one monkey off the back of Brian Kelly and really just LSU. Two different head coaches. This isn't just a Brian Kelly thing. This happened during Coach Ed Orgeron's, the last 2 years of Ed Orgeron administration or regime. And then when Kelly comes in, it just never ending. And so it had to end. LSU do it, and you just didn't care how it was done. Ugly, running the ball. You win 3-0. You win 2-0, a safety. You don't care. You just get the win at all costs. Now you go into week 2 here against Louisiana Tech. And LSU has a bevy of weapons. Look at all those guys up there. Trades Green, I think he had like one official catch, two catches in the last game. And we saw his dynamism. He drew 2 pass interference flags. I'm not complaining about the performance. It was what LSU needed to win. How it happened, I don't care. But now, against a team that could not score a touchdown in the first half last week against Southeastern, Louisiana Tech, only scoring 2 offensive touchdowns in the entire game against Southeastern, and winning only 24-0 against Southeastern. I want to see this become a game where Garrett Nussmeier and this absolute brilliant litany of receivers just get going. Like, I want downfield shots to Chris Hilton Jr. to start the game. Absolutely. I want Chris Hilton Jr. maybe getting like a quick intermediate route, quick release, get him for 5 yards type of a play to just get him going, get those hamstrings loose. You don't want him going deep for it all in the first play. You want this kid to be healthy for you, available the entire season. You cannot afford to lose Chris Hilton Jr. So get him in, going, kind of easy in the game here with a quick route, get him in rhythm with Nussmeier, and then you go downfield. You have to take these shots to Barry and Brown as well, maybe even one to Trades Green. really expand the arsenal of what this, this offense did not have a great account of themselves last week. And yet everyone knows that was exactly what LSU needed to win the game, exactly what the Tigers needed. And so no one really cares about the result, right? It's kind of like, well, you know what? I mean, sorry, no one cares about the means as long as that you get the result. That's what I mean. No one cares about how you do it as long as you get that result. And that's against the toughest, one of the toughest teams LSU will probably be playing all season. Maybe Clemson are very overrated. We will find that out as the season goes along. But I tend to think that was just a real hard knock, drag out, really bloody, vicious kind of game. And I think there is some old school violent mentality in that Clemson team. So I think maybe they are a pretty good team. And so LSU has just taken that team and completely dominated them in their home stadium. With all this we're the real Death Valley talk, LSU doesn't just silence it. They completely hammered Clemson, completely stuffed them into a locker, took their lunch money, however you want to phrase it. And I want to see another defensive performance like that this week. But I want to see a shutout here. I've predicted LSU this season to get some type of a shutout. I swear in one of these games. Let's see here. We've got. I predicted a 58-6 score line preseason. A 58-6 score line was my prediction going into our final season predictions right there in late August. And I just feel like, we've seen the defense though. And I think the defense is even better than I predicted. And I predicted us to have a top 30, top 35 defense. This defense looks like it could be top 10, top 5. And at this point, I would actually be like upset if this team can't get a shutout when Southeastern got a shutout, a first half shutout offensively. Obviously, they scored a field goal, but they had an offensive shutout in the first half alone against this Louisiana Tech team. So this LSU team, this LSU defense specifically, under Blake Baker, should be able to have no problem asserting themselves and dominating violently and physically. Now, but the offense is really what I want to see in this game because we know what we're going to get in the defense. Stay healthy. We'll talk a little bit more about the defense as we go along because I'm just so damn impressed and I'm so elated by the options LSU has. It's freaking incredible how many options LSU actually have going into this season defensively. We've talked about the offensive options, but we really, the defensive options are just insane who they have on tap to call for. I mean, there you go. Davon Keys, that's a dude who started last few games of the season and can't really find a snap right now. And he had about 8 of them, I think. This is a very hefty defense, but we saw that identity. We know what they're about. This offense is who I want to see go off. You want to see them go for 50-plus points in this game. Why? Because they absolutely should be doing this against a team like Louisiana Tech. You only scored 17 points in the game. I know about the Barian Brown touchdown. It doesn't matter. The refs took it away from us. It doesn't count. 17-10. It should be 24-10. I'll say it over and over and over. We can probably retroactively maybe change the scoreline in our minds. But you can't change the scoreline during the game. 17-10 is all it was. This offense needs to show that, hey, we're going to start quick every game. It's a must to score on that first possession, because then we score on that first possession every game, just like the 2019 offense would. We don't have to be the 2019 offense, but if you score that first possession, then guess what that's going to do with the type of defense we have? It is going to play right into that defense's hands. It's going to be almost too easy for LSU's defense to maybe not win every game, but get a foothold in every game very easily right off the bat, thanks to just, starting strong on offense, punching it in, getting a 7-0 lead, and starting the game off right. That's the thing. And that's really what I want to see, is LSU get into the rhythm of that offensively. No slow starts in the first half. No kind of just wandering ourselves through it and trying to figure it out. LSU really needs to get going offensively. Florida come up very soon here. And that's not a team that you're going to be able to just swat away very easily. And that's maybe not a team that you can just swallow up defensively very easily either. They have two incredible running backs, Jaden Baugh, Jacoby Jackson. Both had, I think, 6 or 7 touchdowns last year. Both had 600, 500 yards. Both complement each other very well. It was over 5 yards per carry, both of those guys. And I remember going through all the numbers in the season preview that we were doing. We were looking at all of these teams on the schedule. And I was just thinking the whole time, this Florida offense is going, we actually were able to bottle them up somewhat last year on running the ball. Other than that, Napier has had a lot of success running the football against Brian Kelly's LSU. He just has, whether with a running quarterback or not. He's had success, especially with just pure running back guys. Whether they've won the game or not, usually they've been shootouts, like 52-35, 45-35, like just crazy games, but LSU allowing a lot of points while still scoring a lot of points. But it's not something you want to see. You want to see LSU dominate this game against Louisiana Tech, run the football, get so much more confidence going into that Florida game that even more like, oh my God, that's the mistake I made. This is what I've got to do to correct it. Now when we go rushing against that Florida front, we're going to know exactly what we're doing, like, we're in each other's pockets. And that's what you have to have. You have to have this offensive line clicking on all cylinders. And you got some of it for most of that game. But a lot of the time it's Nussmeier making plays with his legs, anticipating, oh God, they've already broken through the offensive front, and he's already rolling to his right, already getting ready to uncork it downfield. Or Caden Durham being creative and being just outrageous with his bursts of speed and his vision, and being able to see the hole and just go and find it himself almost, and just kind of find yards, tough through for yards himself. He's very nitty and gritty, Caden Durham. And I think against Louisiana Tech, while you will only want to use Durham sparingly in this game, you do want to get him probably a good half of this game, just to keep him more in rhythm. I mean, 74 yards, 17 carries, a huge touchdown in the game. He was fantastic. He was really a huge safety valve for Garrett Nussmeier in that offense. But man, now we want to see Caden Durham really just keep getting fed. Just see if we can really overpower Louisiana Tech in this running game early. Let Nussmeier take his shots downfield like we wanted to see, like we just opened up with. We want to see him spread that football around to the receivers, but also lock into some guys. So 3, maybe 4 max kind of recycled targets, and then a couple guys on the fringe. But I don't want to see everybody have just 3 receptions and nobody really goes off. Feed Aaron Anderson. Feed Barian Brown. Feed Trades Green. Feed Chris Hilton Jr. Like, those are the guys, especially with Destin Hill, broken hand. He's out for at least this game. And I don't think he's going to play against Florida. That's the aim that they want, is for him to play against Florida. I don't think he's going to get there with a broken hand, but we'll see. We're rooting for him. I hope he will, but I've had injuries very similar, and it's like, oh my God, like the pain from those injuries can be quite outrageous. And so for me, this is a Florida warm up. You cannot prepare this any other way. And Brian Kelly, I have to say this, and just follow me here on how I say this, and I think you might agree. I don't think in the past Brian Kelly has taken full advantage of these gimme games, if you want to, for lack of a better word. These gimme games where you really can run up those stats, run up those numbers, get guys some confidence. You need to take advantage of those games, those moments, to get certain guys in gear and flying high. You really need to. And I feel like Brian Kelly would use those games to like almost play politics where, okay, we'll get you the catches, a one or two, targets your way. And then we'll get this guy one or two targets. And then we'll get you this many reps just to make you happy and keep you happy. And it was like, you know what? We could really be taking advantage of these games and experimenting defensively, offensively, to kind of figure out some solutions to maybe some bigger issues against the best competition we're going to play. And after you faced Clemson and still beat them in week 1 and learned so much about your team, I guarantee they're going to learn even more from this game. It's going to solidify or maybe change their view on certain kind of beliefs they've gotten in their heads after watching their players take down Clemson. And I think this has been a very beneficial setup. You've gotten that win. It was tough. It was grinding out. Now you really can settle into things against Louisiana Tech. And what's crazy about LSU's schedule is you've got Louisiana Tech, then you got Florida. But then, let me make sure I'm correct on this. You have Southeastern after Florida. So we play Southeastern as well this year. And then you have Vandy. And then you have to go to Oxford at Ole Miss. And then South Carolina. And then you do have A&M, Arkansas, Alabama as a gauntlet. But you have Western Kentucky, there at the end of the season before Oklahoma. Like, you have these gimme games spread out perfectly this season for LSU to really get guys healthy, give guys some rest, but also experiment, figure out some issues maybe offensively. We know that the defense is working, but I want you to get your second team and identify who that second team is perfectly. If in a situation like Tyree Adams goes down again, or for example, he goes down in that Clemson game, and who goes in there for him at left tackle? DJ Chester. That is not ideal, right? That was just simply because Chester was experienced and knew the calls and was like ready, right? And was a veteran and had been able to do that before. And guess what? He got beat a few times. He looked bad a few times, Chester. Overall, he did enough to get us over the line. Yeah. But you do not want him going in at left tackle. You need to figure out who your backup left tackle is to Tyree Adams immediately. Is it Carius Kern? There's so many situations. You could put Weston Davis at left tackle and then move Josh Thompson to right tackle. I've seen certain situations they've done in practices this spring and fall where they've prepared for these eventualities. They've cross-trained guys even just a bit. Like, hey, that guy's got tendencies, attributes. He could be a good guard, at least a serviceable guard. Let's try him at guard to keep him ready, just in case this happens or this happens. you saw Chester, holding his own at center for all of spring. But then the second fall camp began, he was out of center. But that whole time, guess where Braylon Moore was practicing during spring? He was practicing at guard. And so Braylon Moore even kind of got some cross training. And I think that's kind of like a waste of time to have Braylon Moore do that, to be honest. I think that's actually a huge lost opportunity to not practice more and more with who's going to be your center. That's kind of a mystifying decision there from Brian Kelly and Brad Davis. But for me, LSU going into this game, I have to see you spread the football around. I have to see you push it downfield. I have to see you try and stat pad. Try and get, there's so much confidence in this LSU team right now, so much swagger in this LSU team. The way they played against Clemson defensively, that swagger in that first half bled over to that offense for the second half, right? And then that offense started displaying that swagger and playing with that swagger. Because of that, LSU were able to step over Clemson and beat them in their own house on the road. Now, against Louisiana Tech, in what everyone's expecting to be a gimme game and an easy win, it's Louisiana Tech, little brother in-state. I love that Kelly, even though Louisiana Tech's fans are trying to make bulletin board material out of certain comments or twist certain comments that Kelly made, Coach Kelly literally said, like, we're not preparing for Louisiana Tech. We're not preparing for Clemson. We're preparing for a nameless, faceless opponent. He said that during this week's press conference. A nameless, faceless opponent. He wants his guys to be ready and going like it's Clemson again. Like it's the national championship again. Because that's how they played last week. They played like that was the national title was on the line. That's the performance you got out of LSU. I mean, think about it. Whit Weeks, he was coming off of how long, out with that surgery? Since January, and it was a nasty surgery where he had a dislocated ankle and then like a torn fibula or something, like two different injuries on his lower leg. That was his first game, and he had team high 4 pressures on the quarterback, Whit Weeks. Just incredible. And then Perkins, his first game since late September of 2024. His first game in almost a calendar year. And what does he do? He goes rampaging at the quarterback with everything that he's got. You had, I think, at least 7. It was almost 7. I think it was 17 pressures between 6 different guys. And so we'll activate our Pro Football Focus account and get more access to some of these next level stats, even though it's quite expensive now. So I think it's $45 to sign up to Pro Football Focus. But I didn't know our thing ran out, but I remember, I guess, canceling it sometime during the off season, just like not needing it and thinking, this is an extra expense. Cancel it. We'll restart it when the season begins. And when the season began, it was kind of like, oh shit. Like I was kind of like, oh man, that's a crazy price. We'll just try and, scavenge the stats however we can. And I immediately love having the Pro Football Focus control, because then I can deliver them straight to you guys in like such a controlling, profound way where it's like, this is exactly the stat, boom, boom, boom. And we already do that, where we make sure, triple check before we are passing information here on the show. But I just loved having Pro Football Focus, the access to that directly. Such a good tool. But it's not gospel. It's not the end all be all. There's a lot of their grades I don't pay much attention to. And sometimes their stats are a little, maybe inaccurate would be the word. As far as like pass breakups and stuff like that, sacks, like there's some of the weird criteria they have for that is different than like regular stat sites. But usually they kind of explain that in the key. But still, I love having their extra view of the games and their additional stats. I love it. And LSU, did very well with Pro Football Focus grades. You've got some of these guys, not Mansour Delane, who we predicted would be one of LSU's most important transfers this offseason, just knew he was going to be a shutdown corner because of the mentality the kid had. It wasn't just he went above and beyond in this last game. In an interception in his LSU debut, 2 pass breakups, targeted 8 times, just allowed 1 catch for 21 yards. We did not allow that receiving core to get going whatsoever. They had a play here or there, but when you have guys like that, Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco, and you have a quarterback like Cade Klubnik, all these, vaunted great players, and you keep hearing over and over and over about how just unstoppable these guys are, you kind of expect that, right? Because they're just so unstoppable, they can't win against an SEC team. Clemson are just so good. They're 0-4 against the last SEC teams they've played. The last 4 SEC teams they've played, 0-4. But they're just so good. And LSU put them in that locker. And I loved seeing it. Clemson, I mean, we got to share something here. Story time. Story time, everybody. Gather around. Clemson are almost like this weird culty cuckold type of cult. That's a perfect way to say it. A creepy, culty, cuckold cult. They're so strange, Clemson. It's so backwoods. And I love backwoods. I love driving on the crazy backwoods areas. I love getting to know the most rustic type of folk. I love going way out into the boonies. I love going out and getting to know Cajun people. I go all the way south in Louisiana a few times when I've been there and get to know the Cajun people from deep Cajun country. Okay. And I love those meetings with people. Clemson, though, those are people you do not want to find yourself, in a situation with where you've got a broken down car or a flat tire and no spare. I mean, we're talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of imagery and situationry and people wearing faces and people chasing people. I mean, the Clemson fans look nuts. The media literally heard Dabo Swinney, and this is a point made by Matt Moscona. I was not aware of this happening, but Matt Moscona pointed it out, and I thank him for that because this is really something that I was blown away by. Clemson's media were told by Dabo Swinney after they saw Walker Parks, their left guard, All-American left guard, who all ACC left guard, who hadn't been practicing. They saw him in crutches before the LSU game. And Dabo Swinney said, of course, Matt Moscona said this, and then I watched the footage of it because Matt Moscona played it on his show, and it was literally Dabo Swinney. Oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. He'll be good. He'll be good to go. He'll be good to go. Like, you said it like in a weird Gavin Newsom way. He'll be good to go. Like, you just know people are lying when they talk like, shifty head and a weird vibe and suddenly it's almost like they're doing like the Macarena while, running around in a John Woo film. It's very strange. You don't know what to make of it. The body language is all over the place. And so you just, the Clemson fans were, oh God, Sage runs into the room, come tackle me. The Clemson fans were absolutely creepy. And you saw a Clemson fan literally pose with celebrating LSU fans in a photo captured by Jacob Verdon. I'm trying to squeeze out some mustard. I'm not taking a crap. Sorry. If that sounded weird in the background, that was because I've got some mustard here. Of course. Sage had to embarrass me with some mustard. Wow. You madman, Sagey. Um I I couldn't believe it. A Clemson fan like hanging out in the aura of LSU players. Like not like even like drunkenly like what's going on or like being a troll like I'm gonna invade the photo. He's literally like like bathing in the aura. Like it's very weird. Like, oh, I just want to be around one team that wins tonight because I'm a fan of winning. Like, it really showed kind of the soul of Clemson fans because I don't know how fast you saw them turn on Dabo Swinney, but it was quicker than Brian Kelly getting turned on by LSU fans. Like, this was quicker. Like, those fans turned on Dabo Swinney so quick. And of course, Walker Parks did not play a single snap in that game. So Dabo Swinney just straight up lies to their media, and their media literally nodded and went, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Like they echoed his words as he said them. Like he was like, he'll be all right. He'll be good to go. And like as he's saying he'll be good to go, some other media guy was like, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. And it's like, maybe you're saying that as you're writing it down or whatever, because he gives zero freaking access to that sorry ass group of media where they can't even see a single practice. They can barely go to press conferences. They can barely ask questions without him dressing them down and going nuts. How dare you? I mean, I found so many, like anything I looked up for Clemson before that game that was just football related. It was unbelievable how many of the videos would be Dabo Swinney freaks out at media member over asking question about fans saying racial slurs. Where it's like he doesn't even get mad at the kids and say condemn the racial slurs. Dabo Swinney's literally just freaking out at the media and saying, you guys have no credibility anymore. You don't give these kids a grace. And it was like, do you, could you just condemn racism? Is that okay, Dabo Swinney? Is that all right? I mean, it's not that hard. Unless, unless, I don't have to say it. Unless. And so I think that's why Brian Kelly and Dabo, I don't know if you saw the handshake between the two, but Kelly looks like, I've never seen Kelly more like, like Kelly, I've never seen Kelly like more annoyed, more like, God, like I don't want to be around this person than ever before. Never seen Kelly look like that. Well, maybe here, but I mean, there's plenty of times Kelly just looks pissed and looks red on the sideline. We've seen that, but this was Kelly like pregame shaking Dabo's hand and Dabo's being all hey, 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 like a huckleberry. And, Kelly's like, I don't want to be around you kind of a look. Like it's very like, ugh. And so you can tell Kelly has no respect for Dabo. And you can tell there was a little something there. And Dabo has a history where he literally makes sure his fan base, his media, all of them fall in line and don't question a damn thing he does. Don't, to quote the Tool song, I can't remember which Tool song it was, but he's saying, don't you step out of line. That's basically what he's doing. Oh, yeah, it says, don't you step out of line, don't you effing lie. What Tool song is that? Don't you step out of line. Like my friend Bryson Floyd and I would kind of point at each other and saying that when we were like, hey, we're going to go see this movie. And one of us or somebody, no, let's do this, or I'm not into that, man. Let's do this tonight. And don't you step out of line. Like it's kind of an inside joke, but it just makes me think of that, where Dabo just is like a fascist of his program. And so, people want to think Brian Kelly is controlling, and Brian Kelly is, hey, don't you upset me, and a politician is what people have called Brian Kelly. Well, okay, you can call him a politician, but I'd rather Brian Kelly and him being a politician than Dabo Swinney being an absolute prick. You know what I'm saying? Like, to use another P word, because Dabo is just a prick, and I'm just so glad we beat that team. And I think LSU, as a group of players, as assistant coaches, I think they're going to be full of a lot of energy about that type of a win, because LSU have usually come up short in those type of games where it's like, God, this is a team you want to kick the ass of. There's so much passion before Florida State in both those games, and LSU came up so short by a blocked PAT in the first one, and then the second, LSU get belt to ass NC 17. I mean, we got NC 17'd in 2023 to open the season. And then 2024, we lost to a 6-loss USC team that we didn't even let them run the football until the last drive or two that they had. And then they rushed, I think, over 100 yards on us in that game. And we were stuffing their run. We allowed Miller Moss to throw for almost 400 yards on us in that game as a defense. Whit Weeks only played 26 snaps against USC in that game. Only 26 snaps for the best linebacker in the country. No wonder. And that was with Blake Baker as our defensive coordinator. That's not, a criticism, but he was trying to fit Harold Perkins in at that linebacker spot. It did not work. Now you've got Harold at spy, and it is absolute freaking fire. Harold Perkins is where he belongs, and now you feel like he can unleash himself fully from that star position. He can attack the backfield. He can play in coverage when you really need it. I saw it against Clemson, and I loved every time I saw him in coverage. He was smooth. His feet were so smooth. Almost galloping those feet across the field, shuffling those feet, the hips. He's so damn good turning to the ball when it's in the air. It's incredible. And no wonder. I don't think he was targeted all game. Maybe once for a short route or something if he was. But I'm very interested to see him in coverage in certain situations this season. But what we've seen mostly was him in the box, attacking the box. Attack. 3 official pressures, second only to Whit Weeks. Whit Weeks and Bernard Gooden both had 4. So he was second officially, but those two were tied. Just incredible from Bernard Gooden as well. We'll get into him in a second. But Harold Perkins, man, showed what he can do to absolutely wreck a defensive front once again. But it was like the ultimate version of Perkins. It wasn't just like, oh, we've rolled back the clock. The real Perkins, Harold Perkins stood up. Yeah. All that type of, rhetoric is fine and well, but this looks like the ultimate version of Perk, right? It feels like he's better. It feels like he is at his specimen levels where he can do no wrong, where he can win games for LSU at the drop of a hat.
Here, talk about flashing. The young back you just talked about, Davidson, didn't have any chance at all because of how quickly Peter Perkins closed on that play right there for a tackle for a loss.
Let's not forget that he pressured and hit the quarterback on the final play of the game and forced an incompletion when Clemson are going in there to tie the game and send this thing to overtime, right? And just like the national title, LSU ends up kneeling the ball, but it's because Perkins hunts him down. Whit Weeks the play before. I think maybe 2 plays on that drive even, but Whit Weeks for sure on that third down. And with incredible relentlessness. And this is a dude with his lower leg all that rehab both of those guys had to do. This was them coming back from injury, and they're absolutely flying around like absolute freaks. It was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. And so you want to see that defensive effort again against Louisiana Tech. You want to see that same make them pay defensive effort. Bernard Gooden, I mean, my God, he is special. He's a special player. Did he make the top 5 on the list? Top 5 of Pro Football Focus? Let's see here. No, he did not, but I'm sure he was close. Man, he was so freaking good, Bernard Gooden. What a player LSU has on that defensive line. You could put him anywhere, have him rush the quarterback, have him, stuff, clog, twist, stunt. You could have him do everything. Shake, rattle, and roll. You could have him do anything. It was incredible. I saw him attacking, blitzing, rushing from every gap. I saw him out on the edge even as well. It was crazy. It was like they're moving him everywhere. He was at nose and he was at edge. You saw a lot of last second, right before snap, shifting of the defensive line. You saw guys leaving the defensive line and going into like a kind of little soft coverage thing. It was really just brilliant from Blake Baker. There's so many numbers in the box attacking. You felt like every guy was where they should be when they were, crossing routes that just killed LSU for years, right? The slants, the inside routes. LSU got beat on like 2 of those plays. And even when they got beat, they were right where they should have been. They're just like was, a better play being made by Clemson's offense on a few of those plays. And it didn't really matter in the end, but still LSU's guys were right where they should be. Right where they absolutely should be on this defense, on this team, where they are ready. And they are assignment clear. And it feels so good. It is so rare for LSU fans to feel this after years of complete defensive ineptitude, but it was worse than that. They were just like chickens with their heads cut off. They didn't know what they were doing out there. That's the thing. It wasn't just that they were bad and they were giving up big plays and LSU were allowing a lot of points. They did not know what they were doing, right? It was bad. Guys that were completely out of it had no business being on the field wearing our uniform even. And they would be out there getting completely erased. And now you see guys who are completely worthy of the uniform. And not only that, they could have been, purchased by, teams we're going to be playing on this schedule. Alabamas of the world, the Texas A&Ms of the world. And instead we got these guys. And we better take advantage of this moment where you've got Jack Pyburn, Whit Weeks, West Weeks, Zach Weeks, all on the same team. Davon Keys, Tamarcus Cooley, Ashton Stamps didn't even play a defensive snap in the game the other night. Didn't even play a snap defensively. And he led the SEC in pass breakups last year and played every snap for you at corner. That illustrates the depth and talent upgrade of this team more than anything else. It's not an indictment of Stamps. I actually think Stamps is a fine player for LSU. And I think given another opportunity, we'll see where he goes this season. I think he could be very good as well. I think he'll raise that game as well, as you've seen out of P.J. Woodland. P.J. Woodland like he was shot out of a cannon last game. P.J. Woodland like he was shot out of a
DBU.
Comes from all the way around with that speed.
Wow. Yeah, baby.
They keep everything in front of you.
Here's the play.
Huge play here by Nuss and Barry and Brown.
There we go.
PJ
There we go.
Woodland
Finally
with the
found it.
sack. Beautiful play design here by Blake Baker.
I mean, look at this. Look at how PJ Woodland just...
He brings the corner from the boundary.
That's just too easy. That's just too easy.
And that's what I think LSU fans can get excited about this
That's
year.
just too easy, man. And Woodland, you loved what you saw from him in coverage as well. There he is in the photo, actually, far left, number 11. And PJ Woodland, you loved what you saw from him. Kelly said the same thing. He loved how Woodland played, and I don't think there's going to be a change there. I don't think there's a reason to make a change there, to bench Woodland or anything. I think he earned another start with his performance. And so you got Woodland out there, which everyone's penciling in stamps. That surprised a lot of people, PJ Woodland starting in this game. I noticed throughout fall camp, PJ Woodland getting more and more and more opportunities. And I knew Blake Baker loved his mentality. I knew that Blake Baker loved him as a player. But that loving him as a player and starting them in the opening game is a whole different thing. He put his trust in PJ Woodland, and PJ Woodland didn't just back it up. He absolutely freaking delivered for LSU. He was amazing, PJ Woodland, in this game. Got a sack, as we showed, was locked down in coverage, just like Mansour Delane. I mean, I think he allowed a catch for 11 yards or something. He was unbelievably locked down in this game. And he was strong in the tackle as well on the edge. And notice there wasn't too many moments where our safeties, our corners had to make these crazy 1v1 tackles, or else we're giving up a 50-yard play or something. Notice that. It didn't happen very much, right? It was so rare. It was so rare. It was so beautiful to see. Let's get into some of these comments because we got some comments here. We've got LSU Hyper Ninja 9 says, I'm happy we won the opener. Now let's win tomorrow night and take care of business against Louisiana Tech. That's the thing. I want to enjoy each one of these games. Each one of these games matters to me on its singular level, and I want to enjoy it, whether it's a gimme game against Western Kentucky or Louisiana Tech or Southeastern, or if it's Alabama, if it's A&M. I want to enjoy each one of these and bask in the greatness of college football. It's back, and it's so alive. I mean, even the TCU North Carolina game that was so terrible, the Twitter action was hilarious beyond belief and so damn entertaining. It made up for the complete diabolical of game that was there to be witnessed. Bill Belichick's horrific debut, getting destroyed by TCU, and that game was the worst of the lot, and still it had entertainment value. This college football week 1 was outrageous, and so I think it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. I think LSU fans are going to get even more joy here. And I think it's going to be, yes, we're going to put up a lot of points. We're going to get a lot of yards. We're going to really make Louisiana Tech suffer. We're going to really make Louisiana Tech pay. That's quite clear. But in the process of doing that, I think we're going to have fun. I think we're going to also see some potential other games where there could be some jeopardy this season in college football. We could see some other slides. LSU is the number 3 team in the country, everybody. Number 3 team in the country. No team is going to go undefeated this season. Okay? Right? LSU are probably going to lose at some point. They're going to at least lose one game, right? Even if they do, LSU are probably going to be a top 10 team for the rest of the season if it plays out how we think. That includes not losing games to Louisiana Tech, right? It's kind of obvious here. That includes not losing to Southeastern. That includes not losing to Western Kentucky or Vanderbilt. LSU have a tough schedule in certain areas. That 3-game jaunt, A&M, Alabama, Arkansas. But, man, these are the opportunities to really, maybe Clemson, that was kind of a punishing game. That was kind of a really exhausting, draining game for a lot of our players. Maybe this is a great moment here where our guys kind of were able to take the foot off the gas this last week a little bit. Not stay hard, stay ready for the game. Not saying like, oh, just who cares, coast through this game because it's a expected win. Anything can happen if you get in between those lines and you're not ready to play. We saw it against Troy. So this team better be freaking ready. I'm not saying, hey, they're fine because they beat Clemson. We only won 17-10. Okay. This team, Louisiana Tech, scored 24 points the other day. 24 points. We only scored 17. So, I mean, we need to have the humility to be ready to beat the shit out of this team. Like, we need to respect them, to absolutely annihilate them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know we should beat them. But if you do it disrespectfully and you're just an asshole about it, and like, we should kick your ass, but, it's going to come back to bite you. Like, I feel if you treat them like a nameless, faceless opponent, just like Brian Kelly said, you'll be fine. Because in the end of the day, it's about what you do and how you are that's going to, dictate the game. Even if you study all the tape and study the opponent's entire freaking playbook and you know everything, right? You're going to be wrong at some point. They might beat you because you've overstudied and they did do something else completely. And you've been focusing on them instead of focusing on yourself. If you focus on your own team and what you can do, even if 3 guys are off on a play, if 8 guys aren't, you're going to be fine. You can even get that ratio to, if 5 guys are right, but 6 guys are wrong, you can still get that ratio right if it's spread out throughout the team, not just, the secondary completely screwed up here. Well, it doesn't matter what the D-line does and how close they are to sacking the quarterback. He gets the football off. You're cooked. So my point is you really want to focus on yourself, not worry about, well, it's Louisiana Tech or is it Clemson? Is it Alabama? Is it A&M? Is it just focus on LSU and we'll be fine. Because this LSU team is so deep. They're so talented. Aaron Anderson had 6 catches for 99 yards. Absolutely was the spine of this offense. And he barely even gets a mention. We've mentioned him a few times in this thing, and it feels like we should be talking about him a lot more. He was one of our top 5 Tigers versus Clemson in our recent article. Definitely, of course, I'm definitely going to recommend that to you guys. And here we'll post the link right in here, because we have to try and get you guys to go to the site. Of course, we just have to. I'm telling you, if you guys like what we do on this YouTube thing, you'll love what we do even more as a writer, because you'll be like, whoa, I didn't think he would use these kind of words or sound like this. It's a whole different vibe. We're better writer than we are a speaker, I think. But I love that the speaking thing allows me to take a comedic shot at a college football once in a while. So we'll persist with all formats and all vibes here. But thank you, LSU Hyper Ninja 9. And then let's see. Mike Prima says, I think we will win a national championship this year. Go Tigers. Are you being serious with that? Because I don't know if you know what we predicted preseason, but I actually predicted LSU to win the national championship over Texas, which now looks like a terrible pick with Texas being in the game, but 43-37. I have us beating Texas with like a walk-off touchdown situation in the title game. So that makes 2 of us. And that was before the season. That was before we beat Clemson, who everyone in local LSU Louisiana media picked against LSU, and then later said, "Oh, we were doing the reverse jinx and stuff." And no, you weren't. You're going with the crowd, and you're picking against LSU, which is fine. Pick against LSU. I have Florida beating LSU in week 3, 29-26. I'm just calling it as I see it. If I saw this team as a 3 or 4 loss team, I would have said it. We've said that before. We said LSU were going to lose 5 games in 2021. They ended up losing 7. Like, we've had to do that where we've picked a team it's not going to be all sunshine and roses this year. No fan wants to hear that. We've lost subscribers because you didn't predict a national championship. It's like, what are you talking about? The only season we predicted a title was 2019 because I had a lot of love for Burrow. I loved his long hair. I love how it felt like he was a quarterback that actually would throw it up. He'd actually give the receiver a shot with the ball. He'd actually put the ball in the air. It was surprising for an LSU quarterback. And so you just were addicted to having Burrow back, right? And you knew if we could beat Tua and Alabama in that game, it could open up everything. And LSU did. And it was another season where, while the competition was incredibly high, I knew that LSU were the cream of the crop. That roster, I'd followed them in recruiting. This is a disgusting roster, right? Pick them to win a title, and that was not a popular pick preseason, believe me. This year, people think I'm nuts to have picked that, right? People think I'm nuts to have picked LSU to win a national championship. People think I was a homer, a sunshine pumper, or this and that, and it's like, we don't predict this that much. We predicted in 2023 LSU to make the college football playoff, the Final Four, but I predicted a loss in the Final Four. And that's it. We haven't picked LSU being in the playoffs since. Oh, wait, no. I had us in the playoff last year. Never mind. I had us in the playoff last year, and we lost in the quarterfinals to Ohio State, who ended up winning the title last year as well. So I think, and that should have happened. LSU should have been in the playoff last year. Make no mistake about that. I mean, the fact that LSU lost 4 games, we lost to a 4-5 Florida team who were just riddled with injuries. That type of bullshit can't happen this year. And more, it's looking like it won't. Kelly's tone in press conferences is one of someone who knows that they've taken that step, and now they're in a mindset of championship. Where he didn't necessarily rip on Dabo, but he did. It was Michael Corleone-esque from Brian Kelly. And I want to see more of it. You want to see more of it. We love seeing Brian Kelly, pull out those balls and basically wipe them all over Dabo's face. I mean, it was just beautiful. Elastic. And so, Kelly, you want him to have that demeanor. You want him to be an asshole to every other coach. You want him to basically call his shot and have that bravado, have that mentality to say, hey, I'm going to be the best coach in college football after this season. And even the people who hate my guts are going to have to literally sit there and admit it and say it and talk about it. They're going to have to sit there and talk about me. Kelly, you can't be as successful as Brian Kelly is if you're not an egotist. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. Because we got a guy who wants to be remembered as a great head coach. And so championships are bust with Brian Kelly. Championships are bust for LSU. And I effing love it. And so Mike Prima you're thinking championships, bro, that's fine with me because you saw what we picked. Mike Prima with another comment. He says, defense finally looks very good again. I'm stoked. That's kind of an understatement, bro. Look good. Looks very good. I mean, that defense, bro. I mean, that defense was not what you were expecting to see, was it? I expected our defense to be good in this game against Clemson. And, maybe Cade Klubnik throws for like 280, 290, a few touchdowns, an interception. I knew we were going to get a pick in that game. I predicted a pick. But I thought they would score 34 points on us. And I predicted that we would gobble up their running game, but still, through the air, we would struggle here and there just because Clemson had really good personnel there. And it wasn't really an indictment on anybody else. Instead, we just found out that LSU may have put together one of the best transfer classes we've ever seen. If this continues in this vein, I don't know how anyone can disagree. When Mansour Delane goes out there and has that type of a performance, Tamarcus Cooley is just ironed out at safety. He's going to be your starting safety. AJ Halsey as well, if he's not suspended for punching somebody. Barry Brown is going to be a receiver that you want to take as many deep shots as possible to this guy. I mean, this team is just freaking loaded. And you've got Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks on the same LSU defense. That's something we're going to talk about later, like 10 years from now. And, Dad, you saw Perkins and Weeks on the same defense? Oh, my God. I'm going to say, actually, you did too, boy. You were there as well, boy. You're sitting on your daddy's knee. Starting to sing Born on the Bayou. Oh, my God, what's happening now? Sage, where's the lid to this? Where's the lid? He's sitting here watching a show with his mama, and he has destroyed my cup. He's destroyed my cup. I cannot find the lid to my cup. My giant black water bottle that is completely destroyed now at this point. It's hilarious. This thing is more deformed than Mickey Rooney's face. I don't know why that photo just got clicked on, but we talked about Stamps and how he wasn't playing and how that showed LSU's upgrade at talent. We didn't ever feel handcuffed that we have to play this guy. We have to play this guy. We have to play that guy. And it gives LSU's coaching staff options to really push this team to its ultimate. Finally get the ultimate out of this LSU talent by kicking them in the ass and saying, guess what, you're going to have to earn it. Everybody on this staff, on this roster, you're going to have to earn it. Caleb Jackson went in there for one play, slipped up, tripped up. Someone, I think it was from the left. Yeah, it was from the left. Let an edge guy come flying in. And from the right, there was penetration as well. And Caleb Jackson gets sandwiched and just smashed in the backfield. And then he didn't play another snap the rest of the game. Like, that's the type of team this is this year, where there is that much talent. There is just going to be no effing around. Because Brian Kelly's effed around. He's found out. He's fired all these guys. He fired not Joe Sloan. He fired a Blake Baker before. He fired a Corey Raymond before. He hired a Brian Polian before. He went away from Louisiana as far as coaching and development, and he found out the hard way. He went away from, playing the best players for every snap. and it was kind of about politics, and it was kind of about who's the veteran guy. And that never did LSU any favors when you had a guy like Whit Weeks on the bench and the 2023 LSU Tigers, a team with a Heisman winner and we'll just say it, even though it didn't happen, he was cheated out of it, a Bolitnikoff winning receiver in Malik Neighbors, and a guy who should have been second on the Bolitnikoff in Brian Thomas Jr. And that team, if you had just literally had Whit Weeks on the field instead of Omar Spates, who got the job because he's experienced and Matt House liked him, I guess more and trusted him more than a freshman Whit Weeks, which was insane as we knew then. Whit Weeks leading the team in tackles from his debut on, and Whit Weeks and the team were undefeated clear until halfway into his second year with LSU. And you literally benched him for Omar Spates. And you found out with Harold Perkins where you didn't play him against Florida State in week 1. You found out the hard way. You didn't have anybody electric to stop that team. You barely figured out that you should play Harold Perkins way late in that season. What was it? Week 5, week 6? Oh, yeah. You'd already lost 2 games. One to Tennessee, where Harold Perkins finally started playing in the second half defensively, and the game was already over. And Jabari, the running back, Smalls, the running back for Tennessee just went off against us. They didn't even throw the ball all over us. It was just complete constant running it down our face by Josh Heupel. You already lost 2 games before you figured out you had to play Harold Perkins. You needed to play Harold Perkins. That's unacceptable to me, but you already knew Will Campbell and Emory Jones were your best offensive linemen. It took a few games for them to figure out Emory Jones was the best right tackle. But this season, you have the feeling immediately that the best guys are playing. When a guy like P.J. Woodland usurps a guy like Ashton Stamps, who played all last year, and a guy that just everyone knows Kelly's just going to keep playing Stamps because he played him last year, the continuity, the blah, blah, blah. And we're going to all wonder is P.J. Woodland that good? Is DJ Pickett that good? We want to see these guys. And a lot of those times, those opportunities were on the cutting room floor. Deshaun Womack is already having a big season for Ole Miss and had really absolutely dominated that game in Ole Miss's opener. Deshaun Womack, and LSU sent that kid packing. And it's kind of like, you wouldn't have had to go spend so much in the freaking transfer portal if you just not sent this kid packing so quick. There's opportunities we've seen Kelly and company miss on. Like any team, you're going to miss. You're going to have situations, games, stretches of seasons that it just doesn't work out. Things do not come together. It's the wrong team. That type of stuff. But Deshaun Womack just received 0 opportunities as an LSU Tiger, and it really made no sense. He'd have like 5 snaps in a game and have like a sack and a half and like 4 pressures, a batted pass, like 4 tackles, like involved in like every freaking thing that possible, every play. 6 tackles total, 5 solo, 1 TFL for Deshaun Womack. And I know he had, I think, 3 or 4 pressures and like 2 quarterback hits. Like, he was all over the place for Ole Miss's defense, obviously against Georgia State. So it's not really like, but still, we let him go, and we're going to have to face him now playing for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. That's going to be a hell of a test. I think that game at Oxford might be a little sneaky one there for LSU. That might be a game maybe I should have predicted LSU drops, because it's going to be a tough game. What you yelling, buddy? Sage, what you yelling? You crazy boy. Well, as you saw, we predicted LSU win this 58-6. 58-6 over Louisiana Tech tomorrow. We will be doing as much coverage as possible. Look out for a pregame show, a possible halftime show, depending. We'll let you know if we're going to do it or not. We won't leave you hanging on that. But do yourself a favor. Click the notifications for our YouTube. Click the notifications for our Twitter. Click the notifications for LSUODYSSEY.com. Sign up. Get the emails. I mean, you don't even have to subscribe. You don't have to pay us money or anything like that. If you subscribe for free to the emailing list, you'll at least get notifications of when we post articles, which is also when we're going live. So sometimes we'll post the article, say 4 hours before we go live, 3 hours, but we're always going to put it's live tonight, 6 p.m., whatever. Click that bell. Click the notification thing. You'll get all of the updates right when we are going live. Right when we're going live, right when we're starting to do this stuff. And we give you guys always at least 3-4 minutes to kind of settle in and get into the show and get into the space. We don't want to be talking to a wall for 5 minutes before, most of our people come in. And it looks like, I mean, we've had a great audience today. It's incredible how many different people have been watching across YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, where we're going live, and on LSUODYSSEY.com official site. All in all, at least 613 views right now live that I can see. Maybe it was even higher or lower before. I can't tell, but from what I can see, it seems like it's rising. 49 views from YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, I won't get into the. Yeah, no one wants to hear me saying that type of crap. This is very, very cool to do. I am so grateful to be able to do this for you guys and to try and provide the number one fan base in the country with the best possible content, the best possible. I want it to be a one-stop shop for LSU fans where if you want to know this, if you want to see this, if you want to hear about this, if you want to figure this out, if you want to find out about it, you're going to find it all here. I want it to be like that. I want it to be the one-stop shop. And maybe it can't be that right this second, but we're going to try and make it happen regardless with a zero budget. We have zero funding, zero investment, and I think that's going to start to change because not only do we invest a lot of our own money in this thing, month to month, the StreamYard fees alone are ridiculous, but keeping the Fubo up for the games, of course, so that we can have complete unfettered access to every game, whatever network it may be on. And even if we have to be on the run, we're going to be able to watch it with, a baby due in December. That's might come in handy. We'll just say that. This thing does cost. And so if you would like to support us in that endeavor where we want to be able to cover as many LSU football games as possible, but it's going to be tough to do that. And if we can get to the game, if we can get down to Baton Rouge, most likely we can get credentialed into the press box or sidelines at least. As an official credentialed member of the media, like so many, but also just trying to get down there to do this thing. So if you're interested in that, visit and subscribe at LSUODYSSEY.com/subscribe. And of course, following us on platforms helps us as well. You don't have to pay money or your 30 pieces of silver. Give me your shekels. You can follow us and share our stuff. That helps too. You can just, people who are watching right now, you're already helping us. It's huge. And I hope that we help you as much as possible. I hope throughout our career you've like learned stuff from us first and like kind of we've blown your mind a bit. I hope we've kind of changed how you view LSU, hopefully for the better. We want to make an impact in any way, shape, or form that we can without, you know, we want things to naturally take their course, but we want to be part of it. We want to cover this LSU football team inside and out, win or lose. Brian Kelly there or not, like we've been doing this for so long. Coach O is the first coach. That might not be long in the grand scheme of things, or long compared to like guys like Jacques Doucet, Shea Dixon, T-Bob. He's graduated from LSU media now, but just in Matt Moscona. So many of these guys have been doing it for decades, but we're getting there. We're getting to that decade mark now, and we've done some cool stuff, but we've still got a lot to learn, and we're still got a lot to experience. There's a lot of experiences other media guys have had that we haven't. There's things that a lot of other guys in LSU media have been able to do that we haven't, and some that we've been able to do that maybe have relationships with some of the players that some of these guys don't. You never know with some of these things. And that's why you just never want to leave an experience or a possibility on the table. And that's the way we're gonna go forward in this voyage. We're just gonna put, like we have done every month, we're gonna put everything we got, every cent possible into this thing, and try and push the envelope here. We want to bring the best reporting and the best scoops to you possible. Last year, we were able to break countless stories that, to the point where we were getting calls from LSU to, hey, shut up, delete that. What are you doing? You're starting to make trouble. How did you get that? And I was told one time, great journalists cause trouble. And so we want to be a great journalist. We want to do this to the fullest potential possible. And then, hey, if we just can't cut it, okay, we've given it the shot. We're just not as good as the other people. We had fun doing it. Okay. I know that we're meant to do this, without a doubt. And it's really, it's almost crazy how seriously and like metaphysically I take not being able to go to certain LSU events. It's like it's something that affects me deeply. And like when I go to these things, I'm almost like flying. Like I'm almost like hovering. Just like, oh my God, this is like I can do my job. This is so much fun. I guess it's very rare for me to feel like I'm able to be there physically in the moment. And we've actually been there for some crazy moments. We've chosen the right times to go. We've chosen the right things to be at. But we need to maximize that to the next level. Red juice. That can be done, my young man. Red juice it is. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for helping us, for supporting what we do, for watching, for sharing, for commenting. Mike Prima, my man, King Cole Adams, LSU Hyper Ninja 9. You've been watching like crazy lately. I want you to know I appreciate the hell out of you, brother. It really means a lot. We really appreciate people like you who come along out of nowhere and they kind of like become part of the wild circus. So we appreciate your involvement and your inclusion here, my good man. I hope we look forward to you commenting and discussing more Tigers madness with you. Everyone, go Tigers. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Death Valley opens up for the 2025 season. And we haven't seen a defense like this on the field of Death Valley in years. I think you could say since 2017, maybe even 2018. You know what? Yeah, 2018 season. We'll say that with Devin White. And even that defense had some issues. But 2017 is probably the year you last saw a dominant, like top 5, top 10 defense. 2017 was the last top 10 defense we saw. 2018, we were, I think, number 11 or 12. 2019, we were 26. And 2020, all the way down into the hundreds. 102nd. Unreal. This is the moment where LSU can really say, hey, Death Valley, we're going to open you up right once again. Wow. That was vaguely sexual and vaguely weird. I need to work on how I say some things. Holy shit. Did not mean to say that. Wow. Israel assassinated JFK. Oh my God. Holy shit, what am I saying? I didn't mean to say that. Oh, wow. Oh, what's going on here? Oh my God. Didn't mean to say that. Lyndon B. Johnson's a terrible person. He's basically Satan. Actually, I did mean to say that. That's fine. Everybody. Sorry, I get weird and wacky and zany on this. That's why if you like more of the straight lace stuff, check out my writing because it's still wacky and zany. But I don't know. I'm not going to really try and categorize what I do anymore. I'm just going to go for it. And so, everybody, we absolutely love talking with you. We absolutely love hanging with you. And we look forward to doing it tomorrow for another LSU Tiger football game, baby. The season is back. Full swing. Week 2. It feels good, baby.